back. Thanks for staying with us. Opposition leader Barry Jagdeo on Thursday announced plans to write the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, and the Organization of American States, OAS, among other international organizations to inform them about the political crisis in Guyana. More in this report.
CARICOM would be faced with an illegal government, a member state that is illegal. And I hope that they will treat it as an urgent matter. I've spoken to the Secretary General about this. And just recently, before I attended the meeting, I did about the impending constitutional crisis and the illegality of the government.
That was opposition leader Barry Jagdeo at his weekly press conference earlier today. Jagdeo says in addition to that, he plans to write the Organization of American States, the Commonwealth, and other organizations. The former head of state explained that a letter will basically inform these organizations about the situation in the country.
It's premature to talk about mediation, but CARICOM has to see it fit, or must see it fit, the same way that when we had the crisis in 1997, a crisis that they caused by street protests, by refusal to accept the results of election, although the margin was nearly 30,000 votes.
This decision to alert these organizations comes one day after a meeting between President David Granger and Jagdeo ended in stalemate without an election date being set. The opposition has already engaged diplomatic corps, having met with representatives from the US, UK, Canada, and the European Union.
I have not asked for independent statements. I'm saying that you'd have to deal with a constitutional crisis in Guyana, because I've not asked for any role so far.
Jagdeo has maintained his position that opposition will not extend the life of the government while demanding that elections be held on or before April 30th. The decision comes at a time when government has a few days more left before it becomes illegal due to the successful passage of the no-confidence motion. President Granger, on the other hand, claims that he cannot set a date for elections until GCOM is ready. For the Evening News, Yanala Dalrymple.
With less than 2 weeks before the country heads into a constitutional crisis, the David Granger-led administration on Friday shut down a proposal to have elections held before the current voters list expires on April 30, 2019. Vanu Manikchand has that report.
At a high-level meeting between the head of state and the Guyana Elections Commission earlier today, the PPP-nominated commissioners submitted a proposal of a work plan for the holding of elections at the earliest possible time, that is, April 29, 2019. In fact, opposition leader Bart Jagdeo has already indicated that his parliamentarians will vote for an extension of the constitutional March deadline if government commits to holding elections before April 30, which is when the voters' list will expire. However, despite making a commitment to have elections at the earliest possible time, the commissioner's proposal was not accepted by government.
Be prepared to give guidance as to how this can be done in the shortest possible time. And of course, advised by senior counsel documents. The president was allowed to take it. Anyway, they took copies and they will share it. I came trying to help the president to come to a decision as to what he could engage the leader of the opposition, to go to parliament and to do, and which is what we put on paper.
We are saying that elections can be held within the life of the list. That is the shortest possible time, because all that is necessary thereafter is for the dates for nomination day, and for that the process is to follow therefrom.
Meanwhile, President Granger has sent GCOM back to the drawing board, saying that the elections body did not offer him proper guidance to announce a date for polls.
We did not receive the sort of guidance that we need to enable me as president to make a proclamation to actually announce a date. But we have kept the door open, and we have asked the Guyana Election Commission to go back to the to the drawing board to examine how quickly and how easily they could arrive at a consensual position, merge the various approaches, ensure that the preparations for elections, which have already started, continue, and that we could have an agreement as quickly as possible.
On the other hand, the government-nominated commissioners are pushing for house-to-house registration, which can last until November this year.
I sense that they could conclude house-to-house somewhere around November.
Conclude house-to-house.
In terms of having a list that can be taken for the election.
With your contracted model.
Yes.
But then that also activates going into preparations for elections. So that will need some more time.
No, these things can be done parallel.
Could
be done
simultaneously.
But that also assumes that the funds have to be made available for the conduct of elections, which we don't have at the moment.
Following the passage of the no-confidence motion against the AP and UAFC coalition government, elections were expected to be held in 3 months' time, which sets a March 21 deadline. And the only way to extend the elections deadline is if the parliamentary opposition lends its support in the National Assembly for a 2/3 majority to approve a new date. But Jagdeo has maintained that he will only do so if the president holds elections before April 30. Once the March deadline passes, the government effectively becomes illegal. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
And finally, reported on Saturday that Business Minister Dominic Gaskin has admitted that the current political situation in Guyana is affecting local business investments. More in this report.
Gaskin made a disclosure during a telephone interview with the Evening News earlier today. The minister made it clear that while the situation may be affecting local investments, foreign investors are not deterred, especially in the oil and gas sector.
I think it will cause a few investments to be delayed while people wait for some certainty about what is happening, but I don't think that it's going to actually, slow visitor flows to Guyana. I know that generally local investors, if they sense that there's any sort of political uncertainty, they are not the foreign investors, not the oil and gas sector or anything like that, but a lot of our local investors who might be planning a project or something.
Gaskin added that the situation was quite unfortunate, while pointing out, however, that he does not believe the business sector should be affected.
Some of them will tend to want to wait and see, just in case. It's unfortunate, but it's always been the case where too much emphasis is placed on politics, and sometimes when politicians are at war or are battling each other, the business community allows itself to be impacted. I don't really think it should. I don't see any cause for concern or for panic because we're a mature democracy by now and we are capable of handling these situations without it spilling over into our economy.
Although Gaskin assured that the ongoing stalemate between the government and opposition will not affect foreign investors, during a meeting with the Guyana Elections Commissioner last month, members of the ABCE diplomatic community raised concerns about the impact the current political situation can have on potential investment opportunities. Furthermore, last month, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry said it has conducted a study following the passage of the December 21, 2018 no-confidence motion and has found that the looming political uncertainty has caused some 64% of businesses to register some sort of decline. The Chamber said too that it was concerned about the effect of the impact. The Chamber said too that it was concerned about the effect of the impact of the associated uncertainty on the business community, adding that it was that level of uncertainty which prompted the survey to gauge the effect of the political environment on business performance. Davina Ramdas, The Evening News.
And that's a wrap on this week's Week in Review. Do join us again on Monday at 19 hours for the evening news. From all of us here at TVG Studios, thanks for watching and do have a safe and productive week ahead. Goodbye.